good with the people out there? I am Damo the Political Plug. I'm here with my dog, Toya G. This is the Chop Up Show. Welcome, welcome. How are you, Toya?
Smooth, yo. It's been a long day. It's been a trying week, but we're here and we're almost to the end of it. So I feel good about that. One thing I do know is that the Chiefs are going to win the AFC Championship game against the Baltimore Ravens, and they're going to go to the Super Bowl again. And so that's how I feel. That's the time I'm on
Okay,
right now. That's
okay. I'm on that same time with you. Go Chiefs. What's crazy is that we get the Patriot treatment now. Everybody hates us.
yeah, we do.
Nobody
That's
used to
right.
care. The Chiefs, like nobody really cared about the Chiefs, right? But now that we
I used to
are
hate the people before that turned out fair play.
Yeah, I mean, so hey, it is what it is. But we want to welcome y'all to today's conversation. We're gonna be finishing up. We're gonna actually have the conversation about Charlamagne that we wasn't able to have last week. We're gonna get that
Yeah.
episode about We're gonna get that episode about purpose up. We had to edit it up because of the technical difficulties, but the conversation was amazing. Something for y'all to think on. So if you missed it, we're gonna get that up so you can be able to see that. But before we get into this conversation with Charlamagne, we got a new segment. Toya introduced it last week. We got and we have another edition of that segment this week, and it is called "Who's Mad This Week." Who's
Mm-hmm.
mad this
Mm-hmm.
week? And
Yeah.
today's "Who's Mad This Week" is about a what's up? About me? No, not me.
You.
Not me. Not me. Not me. Not me. I have
We'll
an
get there.
opinion
Go
on it.
ahead.
I have an opinion on it, but
Sure.
I'm not necessarily mad about it. Uh, hey, straight up, shout out to J Universe. Hey, just having you here is enough, bro. Appreciate it.
What up,
Uh,
Jay?
but who's mad this week? In Atlanta, there's a studio, a booth, or no, not a booth, but a studio, a pole dancing studio that offers pole dancing classes to children. All right, you got some people that's riding for it. You got other people, a lot of other people that's more like, I mean, a lot of people on both sides. Let me not quantify it like that,
Mm.
but one side feels that this is inappropriate and unnecessary. The other side feels like y'all doing too much. Y'all making too much out of something that really should be left simple. And so we want to hear from y'all. I want to get y'all opinion on the idea of kids taking pole dancing classes. I'll go first with my opinion since Toy you want to make it about me. I don't really. Not, I'm not the biggest fan of it. I'm not about demonizing people and demonizing people who think differently than me. But I don't see, you know what I'm saying, the necessity of it. I think that because of the history of pole dancing and its origins, even though a lot of it's been reclaimed for athleticism, its origins are still connected to strip clubs. Like they still have pole dances and pole dancing in strip clubs, and even though we've kind of reclaimed it to make it more athletic, so because of that history, I do think that it creates some issues. It causes some issues, not necessarily just from the perspective of like children being sexual, but kind of blending that to where it's like difficult to kind of recognize what's appropriate and what's not. So that's my opinion on it. Again, that's just my opinion. I'm not demonizing that studio. I'm not demonizing them people, but my perspective is, maybe not. Maybe not.
Sure. Okay. I disagree with the plug. My answer and my reason is going to be reasoning. I won't say reason, but my reasoning will be simple. First, I feel like he attempts to backtrack out of this whole not really sexualizing kids, but you are. You've taken something that is non sexual, that is not a promotion or a provocation of kids being sexual necessary. And I'm going to say this, I don't know the curriculum of the space. I don't know how the space is set up and how it was designed and the environment. I don't know what music they playing to. Now I've seen a video of like 3 year olds, maybe 4 year olds in like a like a play daycare setting, singing "Bend That Over, Make That," and it burned me up to no end. But
Yeah.
if you are a pole in a room that is a neutral space and you playing Katy Perry, baby, you a firework, and you got these kids flipping and turning and holding on and using their upper body strength, and you echoing somehow. I don't know if you can fix that plug, but I hear it.
What?
Um,
Yeah.
I'm echoing.
I mean, I
But
just need to turn down my headphones. Hold on. Turn down the
But
volume.
yeah, one thing that I said and that I said to the plug about it is like if the pole that we talking about was turned horizontally and the kids got up there and was flipping and dipping and doing whatever on that, we would call it gymnastics, we would call it anything else, and we wouldn't be so quick to associate it to certain things. So I don't know. I just say I think we have to slow down automatically looking at kids and what they do and being like, that's sexual, that's gonna put you on the path to something, the connotations are bad. And I think people need to check themselves when they look at kids and especially in any other situation, right? In any other context. There are moments where you can look at a kid and be like, that's this, that's that. This is how we end up calling kids gay when they're not. This is how we end up calling kids fast. They just out here kind of they just like not having clothes because we have sensory issues or something. You don't even know. You just want to call the person fat. Like people are, and young people in particular, are always still becoming. So we don't know as much and cannot just assert that much about kids. I just would question the adults who are managing this process and making sure that they are not making it sexual, because then that's where I have a problem. So again, I'm not just haphazardly defending the politics of it. I just am not with seeing something that is not necessarily sexual. You being athletic, you using your body. I mean, like I've seen some interesting, very athletic things happen that have nothing to do with a sexual contour or this or let me put the palm between the booty. It just wasn't that. It was empowering the human body. It was elegant. And
Yeah, I mean, I
so
think
I just
it.
like it.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's multiple perspectives. It's things that I can respond to, but again, I think the what you about to say? What's up?
I feel like we've made the assumption that only little girls are going to be in this class. How would you feel if boys took the class? Right? Because again, this is
My
all about little boys love twirling and swinging on stuff and doing all types of.
yeah,
So, like,
I
would you
but
have the same with a bunch of boys? If it was a boys only pole class, would they? What would you do with that?
I think still, I think still it was I would still my perspective isn't based on the gender. It's more so based on just the activity. It's male strippers. Like it's like so the like that
You an
connection.
equal opportunity hater, and I appreciate that. I love that. Dude. I'm not surprised. I'm not surprised by it at all because you an ethical ass dude. You just do. You are who you are. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying? So I'm
yeah,
not surprised you hate on everybody involved, but you know what I'm saying? It's just a little area we disagree, and this is why I'm
yeah,
at. What's good,
yeah.
AJ? What's good, Chris? Hello. We'll listen more before inserting my insight. Hope y'all well. Well, KJ, we about to dip out of this conversation here pretty soon. We would love to hear from you. I think my last take on it and my last word on it, so we can give KJ a chance to jump in there, is just that I think we need to be filtered for our children. We need to be protective of our children. Kids don't need to do everything. Kids don't need to see everything. At the same time, we live in a world where to pretend to cloak them and keep them away from everything without showing them and being careful with them, being mindful with them, that's also an option. It just takes too much work doing a whole bunch of what other people want to do. They just want to say no. And I don't think that's cool.
Yeah.
And I'm validating critical thinking in moments where you want to just be like, ooh, it. Because, I mean, like, it's just really not that deep. But that's just my take. The what?
Yeah. Last thing I say on it is it's just in that I mean I do like kids are exposed to so much today that it's difficult to limit I mean with social media and everything else. So I mean I like black people have that conservatism in them that kind of play out in a lot of ways. I'm a prude in a lot of ways. At the same time, I'm kind of vulgar in a lot of ways. So it's like it's a difficult conversation.
Respectable. I'm selectively respectable. I just refuse to believe that somebody taking a pole class is a more direct trajectory and a line of flight for them to become a stripper than letting them go to the school dance and twerk a little bit, or any watch videos or any other random ass thing that inspires people to be like, I'm about to be a stripper as soon as I'm
Yeah.
legally available. If you're gonna do that, do that shit, and if you're not, you're just not. It just
Yeah. So
really not more
if y'all catching this conversation after the show, go ahead, comment, let us know y'all perspective on the whole kids pole dancing class in the chat. If y'all catching up, y'all do the same. We want to hear from y'all as well. But to get into the
they can be like, "Oh, green man, that new age parenthood is some shit." I bet she ain't got no kids. No, I don't got no kids. Okay,
right,
go ahead and get that out the way. I ain't got no kids. I don't want to hear no shit about. She don't even. I've been an auntie since before I was born, and I've been an active auntie since I was 3.5. I know a little something about how these niggas' brains work.
Yeah, know a little
I've
something.
shared my perspective.
Right. Now
There it
let's
is.
talk about what everybody came here for, and that is everybody's, I guess, new favorite political commentator. You know what I'm saying? Charlamagne the God. All right. Uh, if y'all haven't been paying attention, like Charlamagne has been dominating headlines by his perspective and his commentary on Joe Biden and Kamala Harris. And we're gonna talk about the takes that kind of blew up a couple weeks ago. But I want to start with like a genealogy. Like if we like go into a timeline of Charlamagne in Black culture, because he's been in radio for a while, but he's really blown up with it. And the Breakfast Club is really blown up within like the last 10 years. The Breakfast Club specifically, like being on, like watching clips and all that, right? So they didn't kind of blew
I
up
say
within the last.
more of a black culture.
Right, right. And the thing about Charlamagne, like, and I want to hear your perspective of like how you understand Charlamagne, and if you've kind of been keeping up with like this new trajectory, But the nigga was a troll. Like the nigga was like he was the dude that when you do the interview, he's just gonna say something wild, like to get a rise out of you. You like that was his
And it's
whole
gonna be
shtick.
real bait and switchy. Like,
Because he's not gonna defend
mm,
it, right? He's not gonna defend it. And so, like seeing him as that, that's still what I see him as. You know what I mean? I don't like the whole making little mama cry, getting punked by baby. Even though he took a few shots, I give him that. He was sitting there like, what you mean? You know what I'm saying? We're doing whatever. But I still like I think that
nah,
how Charlamagne.
he got punked by baby. I mean, to me, go ahead. And I feel like it's a lag a little bit, but go ahead.
It's a little bit, yeah. Go ahead. It's on you. It's on you.
Well, no, I was just saying when I think about Charlemagne, you can talk about him being punked by Baby, but Baby, I think by default commanded that space when it was all said and done. He also got together by Monique. He also, you know what I'm saying? I don't know if he wasn't getting G checked or nothing like that. He was just letting Soldier Boy just kind of do his thing. But also, that was a
Right.
legendary interview.
Yeah,
You
yeah,
know what I'm
yeah.
saying? Like we gotta, and a lot of truth was spilled in that conversation as well in terms of Soldier Boy's legacy, who he is, and how he the foundation of certain things. So I will not. I say give, and I love how people call him by his name, Leonard. Credit. But I will say, you know what I mean? Like a lot in little ways, he's etched his way in and slid his way into relevance in ways that I didn't expect.
Right. Me too. Me too. And so we have the Charlemagne that we know, right? The Charlemagne that we've become familiar with. But I think what we can recognize as the transition that happened with Charlemagne and the Breakfast Club into this political commentator was honestly, I think it was the Hillary Clinton interview. The the Hillary Clinton interview in 2016 kind of allowed them to be like, okay, now we have a little bit more social credibility because we're having people like presidential candidates. We having Secretary of States come and do these interviews. You know what I mean? So you have Hillary Clinton, you had Joe Biden, you had Kamala Harris, you've had different senators and and representatives. Recently, they've had because they do it a lot more now. They've had Jasmine, is it Crockett?
Crockett from the
Jasmine
state of Texas.
Crockett, yeah, for the representative from Texas. They had Mark Lamont Hill on talking about the Palestinian-Israeli conflict. Shout out to
For a
Mark Lamont
second
Hill.
time, I really feel like before stuff started to like kind of crumble with the Breakfast Club, which I think is important to note because I also think there is an explanation for how Charlemagne kind of propelled to this lane that he's all of a
Mm-hmm.
sudden in because of that. But it, I started to feel like the Breakfast Club was a checkpoint you had to go through to get in. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying? Like it really did feel like you had to start stopping by the Breakfast Club to talk about a drop or really get into what you was going into
yeah,
before you got the check mark of having arrived with the project or arrived with the campaign or arrived with whatever. Like you had to stop by the Breakfast Club. It was getting kind of weird, and even in that way, like we talk about how he got prominent in politics, but even that position
how
was
they got
like,
there, yeah. Yeah, I think it was like because they were already big in New York, but it was like it was the viral clips. I mean, it was once we was able to watch the Breakfast Club like a podcast. Then it's oddly enough that it's podcast culture that propelled the Breakfast Club into what it is today.
I mean, they
Except out
really
in New
did.
York. Again, in New York, Breakfast Club was like a staple. You know what I'm saying? If you big in New York, you big. Like
Yeah.
that's just the reality of it. What you about to
I
say?
mean, I think some people, especially, with radio being considered air quote, dying form of media,
Yeah.
a lot of shows and people had to figure out how they were going to navigate the transition. Some stayed on. So this is how you get like the Steve Harvey show, I think still stayed on the radio, even when podcasts was popping. DL Hughley still on the radio, whatever. Some people made the leap and transition to podcasting as we see on the internet with the Breakfast Clubs and stuff like that. And then of course you got the podcasters who would never survive in that world, but
And
the
we
club
want to
show.
hear y'all. We want to hear y'all opinions on the Breakfast Club, Charlamagne as well, just like y'all initial thoughts. But yeah, like the Club Shay Shays, because that's blowing the fuck up right now.
Yeah, I
Shot.
mean, like he getting new interviews and solid interviews. He had an interview with 21 Savage yesterday morning. Like, oh, all right,
And
you're
people
just talking
rocking
to
with him.
everybody.
Yeah,
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 yeah.
he doing his thing. So yeah, so you had the growth of the Breakfast Club, but then you got this transformation of Charlamagne into like this political commentating figure, which baffled
Mm-hmm.
me because I don't think that the Joe Biden interview and the Hillary Clinton interview was successful. I don't like it was they Joe Biden and Hillary Clinton went on the Breakfast Club and made people dislike them more. Like black
Yeah.
voters were less like you know what I'm saying like the whole hot
Well,
sauce
that
in my
where
back.
Joe Biden was when he was like, if you ain't vote, you ain't black if you ain't vote Democrat or whatever. If you
Right,
don't vote Democrat, you ain't
right.
black.
If
Crazy.
you
Wow.
right. So
Wow.
so here so here we are watching Charlamagne transition into this political commentator when the interviews that he's giving us is giving us nonsense. It doesn't give us productive political dialogue. It doesn't give us like a clear understanding of who we should be voting for. It really just it incites niggas. You know what I mean? Like it
Mm-hmm.
was the whole like the hot sauce in my bag and the Joe Biden statement, "You're not black if you don't vote for me," actually made it harder for both of them. And to be honest, it probably definitely put the death nail in Hillary Clinton coffin for her campaign.
I mean, I think what we learned a lot was what his platform represents to them. Like that was like really how they with them coming on there and acting like that is a reflection of what they talked about in the war room when they posited, the idea that they should go on those shows. Like you got to be on there being like it's not like you're going to a reputable black culture publication or journalistic space where ear to the ground a lot of people you need to get. It is listen, we got a whole a demographic of voters who you're not getting into. Those people who just barely getting in, registered. These people but they're willing to if you show up in some of those spaces. So you just get on
Mm-hmm.
there and see how they were prepped. Because why would your mind? You wouldn't go to a CNN platform. You wouldn't go to
And say
someplace else.
that.
It just would never come to your mind. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
But it for them because of where they were
But
and who they
and
were
and
talking
exactly, and we have to ask ourselves, because I know like all last year you was reflecting that no nonsense progressive politics, right? Like I'm not going to vote for you just because you're better than the other person I don't like. I'm not going to
to.
support you just because you're better than the other person I don't like. If your politics are still counterintuitive and counterproductive to mine, right?
Mm-hmm.
So if we're looking at ourselves and we're saying that black people need to become more leftist, more progressive, move past a lot of the traditional politics that we've ascribed to, Charlamagne and them ain't putting those candidates and those people in that position,
Not
right?
at all. And I think that it's for them to have what the social cachet, as they say, to be able to do those things. I think it's a ton of missed opportunities. And this is not to say that they have people on there every now and again, but I I don't think the framework for the show is to be that portal and to make
Right.
it though that and to force him to be that is just a really awkward and I think disingenuous and disaligned move from
Right.
the track record. I've already seen what that space becomes for those people in those contexts.
Right. So even with all the foolishness that came from political commentary that happened on
Mm-hmm.
I think we got an invader.
We
What's
got
up?
an invader. My friend.
All right, say good night. Say good night.
Good night. You
I need daddy's phone.
You want daddy phone?
on daddy's phone.
All
Sorry.
right, there you go.
We got to hear his voice.
Hold on, there you go. Hold on, let me look at this real quick. All right, come on. All right, you good? Go.
Shout out to Chop Nation. Emmanuel, I hope you heard your shout out. Thank you for popping in with us tonight. If y'all haven't hit that thumbs up, go
For
ahead.
sure.
We just talked a little bit about Charlamagne specifically, but also these tactics, these political tactics in general,
Right.
and how we end up where we are in terms of the people they put in our faces around this time of the year, around this time of the season.
All right. So with the foolishness that we got from those interviews, somehow Charlamagne developed the clout and the reputation with one of my favorite authors, writers, speakers, Stephen Colbert. And like actually, I really got into politics watching Stephen Colbert. I like the Daily Show with Jon Stewart, but when Stephen Colbert came out with the I Am America, the Colbert Report, and his like his spoof of conservatism, one of the greatest like political commentary characters ever. You know what I mean? It helped me understand politics so much better. Like it was like,
and it was such
this
good
shit is a
timing because
joke.
like college, I was there to receive it in the ways that it was being delivered, by him. Like it was like just perfect timing in terms of my maturation and
So
understanding of what was happening.
so we get into a place where he now has Stephen Colbert's ear, and Colbert executive produces his show. It was first called The Guy's Honest Truth. Then it was called what was it? It was called Hell of a Week with Charlamagne the God, right? It was cool, right? I think one of the most interesting things that happened to me that happened on the show was he had Chico Bean, the comedian, going along with having a conversation about like black economics with Dr. Claude Anderson, right? One of our a black writer, black thinker. Which I felt like that was he was attempting to kind of bridge the gap. He wanted to be the black Bill Maher. When you watch his show, he wanted to be the black Bill Maher. He wanted to bring on comedians. He wanted to bring on funny people, but then bring on actual political scientists, politicians, thinkers, and then have them, you know what I'm saying, communicate. But the problem is, we already have Bill Maher. We already have that type of dialogue. We already have those types of, you know what I'm saying, settings, and it really didn't do more than what Bill Maher did. I mean, like the people on the people that were having those conversations with him, all of those things, it was like, this is cool, but again, all somebody's gonna do is tune in on. I've already been watching Bill Maher. This ain't really nothing new to pull me in, right?
Right.
So then it was canceled. Like that show was canceled. Right. It didn't last that. Yeah, it didn't last that long. But now we're at the point, even with the terrible, like we had to do this genealogy because even with the terrible takes that came from the platform that he was a part of, trying to be political, the show that attempted to do like what liberal / independent people do, whatever, wasn't successful, right? So these attempts aren't really working out. But for some reason, we are now in an age, especially with this election, that Charlamagne is the voice of who people like who the media thinks represents all of black people. But the best way to show that would be, let me pull this up here. These types of headlines. January 6, 2024. Will Charlamagne the God's view on Biden impact other voters? Why?
Why would it?
Like why?
Why would it?
Like we know who Charlamagne is. And he's not even saying things that's really too far outside of what everybody else is saying. Because what this NPR article, and this is NPR too. It's like, we niggas rock with NPR. And it's like,
come
really?
on. All right, that's them my dogs over there. What is y'all doing?
Right. Because like here it says the NPR's Scott Simon asks Politico Braxton Booker if the souring relationship between radio host Charlamagne the God and the Biden administration is indicative of black support for Biden's reelection. Why would that be? I respect you, NPR. I like your commentary, and I usually think it's even keel, not too partisan. right? It's based on what's actually happening. Why is NPR up here assuming that one black person speaks for all black voters?
Yeah.
Help me
Why you
understand
not
it.
calling Hassanat? He probably got more views on his Twitch stream than listeners on the Breakfast Club. I want to see the numbers. So why did y'all not deputize him as the voice of the people to talk about? You know what I'm saying? Like it's such a random choice. I mean, I think just to elevate him to be the person that is the gatekeeper of how black people feel about things. Such a peculiar decision to make.
Hold on.
You good? What's wrong?
I'm having a little bit of. I don't know. Is it me or is it Toya, y'all? Because I can't hear Toya, so I don't know if it's me. Toya, can you
I think
hear
it
me?
might be. I can hear you well.
Okay, yeah, we good. I think it may have been my headphones. I just need to switch up. Tell me if you hear an echo, and then I'll go get some other ones.
Okay, I'll let
Do
you
you
know.
hear anything when you talk?
No, not right now. Actually, less of an echo than I heard before.
Okay, bet. Then we smooth. What was you saying? I kind of went out.
No, I was saying that I think the thing that I was mentioning when it started to go out was just that I don't understand. I dare to believe that Casanat, the Twitch streamer, has more, if not the same amount of views on his Twitch stream. So why did NPR not choose him to be like, who are you voting for these days, right? Or somebody like, there's just so many other people. Keith Lee, who are you consciously? I mean, shit, Conscious Lee is a little bit more qualified to speak on the behalf of the sentiments of at least niggas. You know what I'm saying? Black people or whatever we feeling, but that move, as much as it may have seemed to make sense, kind of just baffled me. It was that the only headline? Because I feel like, man, if I don't know who was minding headline,
yeah, but it just hurt. Like NPR hurt me though.
Hurt me.
Yeah, like, bro, y'all think Charlamagne the guy? Man, we were just talking about Charlamagne Hill is out here killing the game. He even got his YouTube channel cracking. He be going live. Charlamagne Hill, like, why are we not talking about Mark? Like, why isn't NPR talking about Charlamagne Hill's rant at the church about the preachers and their role in keeping us voting for the same people? Why isn't that more important than like a radio DJ? Because it takes me right back to the Chappelle show. Like after 9/11, it was like MTV called Ja Rule. Like we got, we just hit the towers. We got Ja Rule on the phone. Why do we give a damn about what Ja Rule think about 9/11?
Where's Ja?
Exactly. Where's Ja? Like, come on. And nobody's like, where's Charlamagne? Nobody.
Yeah, man. KJ said, I don't know if I pinned KJ's comment. It was said that the Breakfast Club is not politically knowledgeable enough to really engage their guests on that level, or rather go to someone like Charlamagne Hill, but that's just me. Continues by saying his interview with Mumia Abu-Jabbar was a classic. I didn't know who had it. Oh, must be talking about Charlamagne Hill.
Yeah,
and that would
he got a podcast with Mumia. Like it's called dang, it's from the cell to something. I forget the name of it, but it's dope. Like it's dope. Charlamagne Hill is really getting it in social media.
Good therapy.
Shout out to Shaybo. Shout out to Shaybo. But so here's another headline, and this is Politico, y'all. These are the serious news, like where most people get their political news from. Even the other news people get news from Politico. Mm-hmm. Trouble with the God. The influential radio host of the Breakfast Club is a thorn in the side of Democrats, but he's also representative of one of their biggest problems. What are we saying? What are they saying? One of their biggest problem is attitudes of black voters. Charlamagne the God does not reflect that. No. And if he does, Charlamagne reflects the surface level aspect of the basic things that black people just generally have been saying for generations when it comes to Democrats. Because the media has it mixed up, and correct me if I'm wrong. They have it mixed up that we are like convinced to vote for Democrats. No, we actively make the choice to be like, we don't like y'all as much as y'all think we do. But if it's when we talking lesser of two evils, we choose y'all because we don't want to give up. We choose y'all because it's a better alternative than the other thing that's out there.
Or nothing at all.
Or nothing at all.
I'd rather put some hope somewhere. You know what I'm saying? Well, not me personally, but that's the way. It's the understandable logic. It's the understandable logic of people who find themselves in the Democratic voting loop, which is just like shit. Like I'd rather fall for the lies and the cap and the feel good moments and the yes we cans and the what was Obama's what was it
Change,
what was his slogan?
change.
Change.
Yeah.
Right. I'd rather throw that sticker on my laptop and call it good. That was the thing to do when I was in college. You know what I'm saying? Or put it where you're gonna put it and
Nah, in
have a
college you put
moment.
your stickers
You
on
know?
your laptop. Like that's what you did. Well, at least when we was in
Yeah.
college. Who knows what kids do nowadays?
I mean, still not. Trust me, it's still a thing. They
Okay. Oh yeah,
still
because you a teacher, you a
slap them on
professor,
those.
Professor Green. Yeah.
Yeah,
So
and then also, you know what I'm saying? You got
right,
your,
right, right.
your drinking vessel.
So all
Yeah.
right. So we got Politico. We got Fox News. Charlamagne, like matter of fact, his what he was saying about when he said that he regrets supporting Kamala and Joe Biden, like it was becoming such a wave. Him saying that he had to come out and say, like specifically to correct Fox News and saying that even though Joe Biden has his issues, Trump will be the end of
Mm-hmm.
America. He had to rebuttal Fox News because they was even using his frustration, his expressions, right, to add today. And it's Tommy Lauren. They don't even like
Mm-hmm.
each other. Like Tommy Lauren and Charlamagne or whatever. Like, right. So again, we seeing him dominate all of these conversations simply because he said this one thing. And his endorsement was supposed to be the black endorsement. Him being on the Breakfast Club was the black endorsement. Hillary Clinton being on the
Absolutely.
Breakfast Club was the black endorsement. That's not true. Charlamagne couldn't have said nothing. Joe Biden could have never came on his show, and Joe Biden would have still got elected. Didn't make a difference.
True.
So why does it make a difference that he's saying he regretted?
Because they need somebody. They need to. I think these parties need to feel tapped in. They need to feel connected. They need to feel relevant. And so, and I'm echoing pretty bad now, but they have got to pick somebody, and I don't think they want to pick the wrong somebody. I don't know who that person exists though. And here was my theory. I feel like it was a mutually beneficial decision to deputize Charlemagne because you got DJ Envy doing whatever the hell he doing, about to go to jail. You got Justin. You have what was Shorty's name? Um,
Just hilarious?
no, I'm about to get to her in a second. You got no the
Angela
other
Yee.
woman that was on there,
Angela Yee.
Angela Yee. Remember when who was that? Webby was trying to pronounce that name. He was like Angela D and
Angela
Charlotte.
McGee, shit like that. Charlamagne.
He said, "Y'all got some."
Y'all got some
Yes, he said,
names,
"Y'all got
boy.
some names on this." But yeah, Angela Yee made her departure. I don't know if y'all heard, but just hilarious. I guess apparently put the cart before the horse and made the announcement too soon about the Breakfast Club recently this week. So she's not gonna be on that show no more. It's just like a lot of stuff weird happening around that mug. And so I think it was opportunistic for both sides for him to start really being a little bit more active in political things and making those rounds and really putting some of his energy and capacity into those types of conversations. Uh, at the same time as the show and its foundation in this direction, I would guess it's probably more taken than it's ever been. So mm, mhm. Right. Mhm.
Oh, they were saying they couldn't hear me. There we go. There we go. Uh,
Uh-oh.
so what I was saying was Charlemagne is a better example of what we consider an industry plant. Because we go as far as talking about like them literally being placed there. Nah, it's black people that work really hard. It's black people that invest a lot of their time, a lot of effort. They invest. Y'all, yeah, let me know if y'all can hear me now. Yeah, let me know if y'all
And
can
me
hear me
too.
now. They
I'm
invest a
definitely
lot of
not
their
sure.
time.
Let me know if y'all can hear me.
Yeah, they invested a lot of time, a lot of effort, and grinded to get to where they was at. Then when they got there, this is how they become a plant. They get there,
Mhm.
and then they begin to be manipulated by the media in order to influence black people. That's what makes you a plant. It's how are
Yeah.
you being used? How are you being manipulated? Yes, congratulations. You blew up. They like now you have their attention. But is that a good thing? Is it a good thing that you got their attention like that? Because yeah, you
Right.
like looking at all these headlines like, man, everybody running with my opinion. And as that individual, that feels good. But who literally asked themselves like, uh, should I be the one that everybody listening to? I'm sitting there having conversations with Mark Lamont Hill.
I mean, no, of course you're not going to answer that question. And that's because at this level in his career, you got to pay him for his time. You got to pay him for his energy. And so again, mutually beneficial, excuse me, opportunities and relationships where they get, you know what I'm saying, a voice of the black community, a voice that, can be the canary in the coal mine of young millennials and Gen Zers of today. And I guess he's probably old enough to be Gen X. So they
Yeah,
grouping his
like
people.
he's a generation before us. Yeah, he's a generation above us.
And
Like he
so
like
in the
40
same
something. Yeah.
then Charlamagne will go and do some, extra publicity or to me, especially in politics, it's always going to be a deal behind the curtain. There's a reason, you know what I'm saying, like that people go out of their way, that people get benefits to do this, that there's advantages to these behaviors, and so I don't know. Like I think what's less interesting to me is Charlamagne proper, and more the fact that he ain't the first version of this we've seen. You know what I'm saying? Like,
That's a great point because I want us to start.
is there a way to work on my echo?
Yeah,
Not a way.
I'm working on it because I'm still trying to hear you, but you playing off the
Got
speakers
you.
now.
Got you.
So it's that's why they couldn't hear me earlier because I was muting to make sure that it wasn't
And
echoing.
not to say how long before Leonard goes MAGA. Ah, the
I don't think
way
he'll
man,
go MAGA. I don't think he'll go MAGA. Like it's too many. We forget. Like we really think because Donald
I
Trump
don't know.
get talked about so much that he's really that popular. He's not. He's not. We talk about him a lot, but Charlamagne going MAGA would destroy. He's done. His career would be done. Like
Yeah,
he
well,
may be able to get picked up by Fox News or something like that, but once you start going that direction, the Charlie Kirk direction and all of that, niggas ain't rocking with you. Niggas ain't looking at you. You know what I'm saying? Niggas ain't fooling
that's
with
his
you.
bread and butter. When it's all said and done, he got too many appendages to black people to go off the deep end like that. That's what they call career unaliving, and we don't want to do that. He don't want to do that.
Right. So, but I think you make a great point when you say that all of this is less about Charlamagne proper, but more about the tactics that are used and that are deployed to manipulate black people, like black voters. Right.
Yeah.
Now, again, let me be clear about something. Those tactics. Yes, sir. Hey, have your mommy help you. Go ahead, have your mommy help you. Lock that door. Have to lock the door on him. I love you, son, but yeah, gotta lock the door. But I think what's now important that we discuss is one what Malcolm X told us a long time ago. Right?
Mhm.
Malcolm X raised the question: why do black people have to rely on celebrities to be our political leaders? Why do we rely on the people that make us laugh, that entertain us, right? That keep our brains occupied? What makes them equipped to have the type of political dialogue that's necessary? Like I think, for example, the reason why Charlamagne the Plant is that any political voice that's speaking out there should be talking about black people moving away from party politics. It shouldn't be, I regret endorsing Joe Biden. Or even just tear down Trump. Black people need to have political dialogues about, have we not recognized that party politics is what? white on white violence. They ain't got nothing to do with
Right.
this. No matter how
Yeah.
many, no matter how many of our talking points they manipulate, no matter how many of our talking points they take, they have that, like, they are not manipulating us
Here's
into
the
voting for
thing
them.
though. I'm not even finna be on your head for real, but I don't think you want that because those types of
Nah, I'll be like,
conversations
what? Like, I want all the
would
smoke.
get
What you mean?
conversations about not participating in the political systems at all because if we're not playing party politics and we're really talking about what is happening before us and the intricacies of these campaigns, then why would we waste our political energy voting for any of that shit? And you would say, well, wait a minute now. You got to make sure you vote because voting is what you do when you want to act like you care and you don't, you know how what you go off on. So I don't know. Like there was some dissonance there that I needed to point out. However,
Nah, that
um,
dissonance does not exist. There was no dissonance. I have a
okay,
nuanced political perspective, and sometimes it gets
sure.
caught up with y'all talking points. That's all.
What I
You're
will
trying to
say,
work out
what I will
understanding my
say,
perspective
what I
and
will
having your
say
talking
is
points.
Charlamagne does have. I'm not a better version of his job would be amplifying people who force us to think more critically during these times, as opposed to reactionarily or in response to like he is the person that we need to be, filtering this. Democrats should be ashamed of themselves. Why would they only offer this one candidate? We need to be holding this party accountable if they want me to even talk about their shit. Even you know what I'm saying? Like that's the type of conversation I would want from Charlemagne is a demand for where is the not like this is the best y'all can do. This is all y'all got. I feel like not enough people are raising or pressing that question and pressing Democrats on how piss poor it is that they let the Republicans whittle down a field of like a bajillion people.
Well,
And
what makes it easier for them to like skirt accountability is how bad Trump is. Like I think it's easier for us to tear down Democrats when Democrats are in charge because it's like that's who's in charge. You feel me? But the problem is that if like because Trump is still so politically viable and the danger that he posed, that it's we need to do something about it. Like and really again, I defend people who say I vote the lesser
I
of
still
two
don't know why
evils.
do something. I can agree that something has to be done about Trump without agreeing that the person to do it is Joe Biden. I feel like that was like this unilateral decision that was made by establishment Democrats that is just like the weirdest thing that has been the far gone conclusion that guides everything else, but it's some shit
Now,
nobody is trying to talk about that don't make no
who
sense.
we should really be blaming is Kamala Harris. Kamala Harris was supposed to be running, but she's so unpopular that they was like, nah, that like we cool, like we.
I mean, but I don't think that's to blame her. We know a thousand reasons why this lady unpopular, so I don't think
No, I
she's
mean
to
we, but that's
blame.
the point though. The Democrats were supposed to transition into Kamala Harris after Biden's first term, but
Mhm.
that wasn't politically viable because Biden was still more popular than Kamala Harris. So I
It's just
mean,
all
right?
sad.
So not to
It's all
blame
sad,
her.
and Charlamagne ain't talking about the right shit. We should be watching the episode of the Breakfast Club, hearing him break down and kind of get into with somebody qualified enough to have for him to have this conversation with. This conversation is, I think, the point that we're getting at is why are these platforms not using this? But you were getting into how this is textbook in a lot of ways. So what does that mean to you?
So textbook just means that we can go down the line and see how this is a very traditional strategy that we haven't done enough to push back against. Malcolm let us
Mhm.
know that it was already problematic, that this was the circumstances we was under, and ever since then we've done nothing to kind of move away from that or even be critical of that. We when it comes to politics and celebrity culture, we still dive head first, right? So I want to first kind of point out a few things that kind of display the type of pandering that Democrats have done historically. So let's take a look at a few of the techniques that Democrats have deployed in order to, again, because my position is that that's not what's really working. It's black people thinking and voting in a survival mode. That's really what it does. But this is what they rely on, right? First, we got symbolic gestures.
Mhm.
A notable example of a symbolic gesture is when candidates wear clothing and accessories during campaign events that are specific to African culture or history, a tactic sometimes seen in various local and national campaigns. Let me give y'all the greatest example of pandering. Best example of pandering happened more recently, right? Let's see if y'all remember this. Y'all remember that?
I hope y'all remember because I'll never forget it.
Y'all remember that? Terrible. Nancy Pelosi, if you don't get your ass up, right?
Ah!
You know what I mean?
Oh, my Lord.
It's these types of symbolic gestures that really are meaningless, but they rely on them, right, to make it look like they are in line with black folk. Tailoring speeches to black audiences. This is where we talk about Joe Biden and Hillary Clinton and their campaigns. Like you pointed out, the things that they say on black platforms, they will never say on white platforms. Never. They would never say anything about hot sauce on CNN.
I mean, which is why I'm not gonna just say. I mean, of course, clearly white people are not being the only ones being used, but if they had Kamala talking about smoking weed, listening to Tupac and shit, like, girl, stop. Like, stop. You reaching. Like, you're just doing too much. You are
Like,
the
you
police.
don't even need to do that. Yeah, like you don't need
And
to
you
do
know what I'm
that.
saying? Like, who was this? Emmanuel said, I'm out here in California. Shout out to you up in NorCal, in Kamala's former district, and nobody out here fooling with her. And that's because they sniffed out the bullshit a long time ago. And it's sad because, from what I understand, she's been doing the hell out of her job, but nobody would ever know it because those moments be career unaliving. They really be taking the wind out of people's wings and campaigns and everything else when it comes down to it. So it's rough to see.
Next we got overemphasis on specific issues, right? And again, this isn't what Democrats do. This is what politicians do. It's just that Republicans are less likely to go on black platforms. Republicans don't really court black voters outside of tearing down Democrats.
Mm-hmm.
But when they do this shit too. Like, for example, overemphasis on specific issues, right? Donald Trump made it seem as if he was an advocate for prison reform. Made it seem as if. So that's why when people bring up, well, what did Trump do for black people? Oh, he did, like, he let all these black people out of prison. They have to overemphasize this one issue as a way to make it feel like I'm tapped in. So the First Step Act is the first thing that people rely on when they talk about what Donald Trump did for black people. They visit black communities or institutions. What are we talking about? Campaigning on HBCUs. Campaigning at HBCUs while these HBCUs are in terrible condition. Like, Howard is like the Harvard of HBCUs, and they live terribly. They live terribly in Howard. What's some other ones? We got promising disproportionate benefits. This one's specifically about Joe Biden. 2020 presidential campaign promised to address issues like systematic racism and economic disparities, which some viewed as an attempt to directly appeal to black voters. And like any economic benefit benefited white people as well, so it's a wash. If we're talking about closing, no, seriously, and that's not even to say that white people shouldn't benefit, right? It's more so if we have to close a gap, that means that there has to be something that benefits black people well enough that black people specifically can move up, and then we move up together. But
go ahead. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to do
that. But what happens is all these policies for the economy that have been benefiting everybody has had, instead of this, it's this. Is it and in some cases it's still this.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It's there's this idea that if they focus on this one thing, that they're impacting the black community, but then we as black people are not realizing that you can't even create a policy that can only benefit black people.
And this is what we call interest convergence theory, right? The only thing I brought this up, I ended up talking to a student about this a couple hours ago, which is why it's so fresh in my mind. But Professor Derek Bell, who is also known to be one of the godfathers, the godfather of critical race theory, and really thinking about the ways it applies to everything from the law to the academy to real world, talks about how black people typically don't see the needle move on the issues they care about unless they directly benefit white people. That is when their interest will be accounted for. It's only if what the desires of what black people desire directly converge or align with and intermesh with the overall objectives of white people. So when you think about, for example, the civil rights movement, interest convergence. You know what I'm saying? Like,
specifically in the context My fault. I just gotta say this real quick. You know I'm a nerd about this shit. Specifically in the context of the Cold War, the civil rights. So what Derek Bell argues is that during the Cold War, America needed to create the impression that it was the hallmark of freedom. You feel me?
Mm-hmm.
So to start creating that perception, we get Brown v. Board of Education, desegregating schools. So that's where the Cold War aligned with the interest of the civil rights movement, which made it possible for desegregation. Go ahead, Toya.
I mean, even systems as simple as capitalism and how much sense it makes for me to sell 100 cheeseburgers or hamburgers instead of just 40. Well, if I let these Negroes in here and sit at these counter and I just got to tolerate them for a little while, but I can, boost my sales and have an inclusive space that now is the bee's knees in this particular neighborhood, then I benefit. You know what I'm saying? So fine, I'll change my policy. Let you Negroes sit at my counter and now I'm getting bang for my buck. You know what I'm saying? In exchange for you just coming here and sitting here and leave and go. And not cause problems that you can cause anywhere.
Exactly. Now, we have more ways that black people recognize that's pandering, right? Reactive policy announcements. So the way that they responded to Black Lives Matter and George Floyd, not really doing nothing but a whole bunch of symbolic stuff. Selective issue avoidance. So they'll talk about certain aspects of racism, but then avoid like police brutality and those types of things. But let's get back to the celebrity appointments, though. Or not celebrity appointments, but celebrity endorsements. The way in which the way that they rely on celebrities, because when we're paying attention, we got to recognize that it's not just Charlamagne. Every political season or every election season, there's somebody, especially during presidential elections. And so who I think where we start with Oprah. Oprah was the big, like when it came to like black celebrities really speaking for, you had people who supported Bill Clinton. You had some people that supported like George Bush. But even though like people say that like Donald Trump is a celebrity, to me the first real celebrity president, like in terms of like how the people treated him, was Barack Obama. Like that he had a personality driven administration. Because
Absolutely.
With the amount of deportations, with the amount of drone strikes, it's very hard to call Obama's administration progressive.
Hey man, that nigga went on Ellen and said, with his little jeans on, he was on that dance.
You know what did it? That nigga got up to that. Yeah. He was doing that speech, got up on that podium and said,
come on. Did it? Yeah.
I'm so in love with you. Well, I'm talking about went crazy, boy. Like, and that's why he got reelected, because it was that connection. And one of the main people to get him that celebrity status was Oprah.
Yeah.
Her endorsement was significant, especially putting him in front of in the face of black people and giving him opportunity, resources.
She did that shit so good when he was out. They was like, Oprah, run. We want you now. Like it's your turn. Everybody really, if y'all recall, everybody in the black community really was like, we want Michelle Obama or Oprah Winfrey to be president.
I was one of the main ones that was saying it.
And she came out and was, it's crazy that you were saying it, but she came out and had to make an announcement like, I will not be running. Her and Michelle Obama both had to be like, I'm not doing that. Like, y'all can let that go.
That's true. But like, for me, it's like compared to Donald Trump, though, I would much rather have Michelle Obama and Oprah.
Yeah, this is true. I will go back on that for sure.
Then after that, we get Jay-Z and Beyonce. If y'all recall, they was performing at rallies and doing that for both Obama and Hillary Clinton. Now they must have learned their lesson after Hillary, because took a step back, right? Like even though technically they supported Biden as vice president, because that was Obama's vice president. You feel me? So it's like, you know what I mean? So it's one of those. But even though Jay-Z and Beyonce kind of fell back in 2016, they was heavy, right? They was heavy. But now we can go to the flip side. Kanye West.
Yeah.
Kanye validated Donald Trump for so many black people. Still not enough to be statistically significant. But I
still think Kanye, the thing that pissed me off the most was, I know for a fact he had to have spurred at least 500,000 to 100,000 just goofy ass 18 to 25 30-year-old who just you just stupid. Like, what are you
Yeah, just like
doing?
real goofy analysis, like
Went out
basic
there and voted for
and
Donald
wrong.
Trump based on some bullshit, and that makes my skin crawl. I know it happened.
So, and I also think though, like him running for president, you had black people that supported him running, like Kanye running for president, all of that.
Mhm.
So again, it ain't just Democrats. It's also Republicans, and Kanye West is Kanye West is bigger than Charlamagne in black culture. You feel me?
Mm.
But he on the dark side. You know what I'm saying? So it and the impact that the amount of conversations we had to have with people to be like, what you're saying makes no sense because they
Yeah.
was listening to Kanye West. Astonishing, astonishing. Those conversations didn't even need to take place. Then we
At all.
got this. Then we got this nigga here. Hold on, let me go to
Speak,
this.
speak briefly about this young man, please.
Then we got this nigga here, Sean Diddy Combs. Sean Diddy Combs. That we got to go back
Yeah.
with Diddy because that was 2004, right? So that's Bush's second term. And this vote or die whole thing was for John Kerry of all people. Who
Really? Okay,
yeah,
that
so
makes sense.
2004. The 2004 campaign was Bush versus Kerry.
Bro, it worked. I remember seeing so many vote or die campaigns that really had me being like, dang, I'm gonna vote when I'm old enough. You know what I'm saying? Because 2004, I was in high school, like early high school, but I remember the white tees that said vote or
Vote
die in
or
black
die.
and
And they
red.
had the box and the check. Yeah.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? But it wasn't Diddy. It was a whole bunch of people a part of those campaigns and taking different pictures during that time. He was just kind of, I think, the more prominent person, and all of the ads would be him and somebody. But I specifically remember being like, oh, I don't want to die. I
Yeah.
can't wait.
And look, what happened to
Oh,
it? Like it's like I don't like why do celebrities think that they just got to get involved this one time and that's gonna be enough? Like where is your voice every election? And because to me, I only think it
you
only
want to know something
happens.
funny?
You said what?
Now I was just about to say something. I ironically used the vote or die campaign as my example in my class of forcing a dichotomy, which is an argumentative fallacy,
Right,
because
right,
there are many other options between voting and dying, and so you have created a false binary that I have
right.
to
And
exist
and
in. But
and
that's
that's
neither
what
here
it's
nor there.
and that's
I'm
what it's
just saying how, in hindsight, how silly it was.
and that's what I was saying here. It was seen as a way to mobilize young black voters, although it also faced criticism for being overly simplistic. Right. Again,
Absolutely.
as we're going through these celebrities, including Charlamagne, what you're gonna hear is elementary analysis. They have a very surface level elementary analysis. Right. Now when we get to somebody like Killer Mike, he's a lot more complex, but ass backwards. Like Killer Mike, help me understand how you go from Bernie Sanders to Donald Trump. Help that make sense to Brian
Yeah,
Kemp, to
you know.
because I don't think he outwardly came out and supported Donald Trump. He actually came out. Let me say from Bernie Sanders to conservatism, to from Bernie Sanders to Brian Kemp, from Bernie Sanders to Herschel Walker.
Yeah.
What sense does that make? And this
No.
highlights another issue with having celebrities dictate these conversations because it's like our pulse as a people is stuck to their whim, what they
And
feel
I'm
like
gonna tell
today.
you, I think it's what Killer Mike does is even more insidious. One, because a lot of his work is directly oppositional to a very valuable and progressive black woman, and so the fact that he is the one taking up space when his
Shout out to
effort and
brother
energy,
Rob, brother Rob.
but definitely could be a whole lot more behind the efforts that she's making in that state is terrible. The second thing that makes him even more insidious and incendiary than some of these other people is that he's in a purple state. He is in a state that is very, very valuable to not only the local landscape for the lives of Black people, but the national direction of policymakers who
Yeah,
align themselves with, morals and principles and values that benefit Black people. And
right.
so you gotta stop playing with Georgia, bro. Like you misleading people and guiding people in weird and awkward directions in a state that really can't afford for you to be
Not
that
like
haphazard
sometimes I
and,
really yeah. Go ahead.
and to then try to make it seem like it is because they're just so independent and so full of critical thought. Like, no, you're not. Like, you stop.
Yeah,
Stop.
it's not there. And sometimes I think Killer Mike just be on some like contrarian shit. Sometimes I'm not gonna lie. Like I think sometimes like it'd be a Democrat that get too popular and he can't. They too popular for him to support, so he
As
jumps
I
ship.
said, I remember what Kanye, going back to Kanye real quick, saying he didn't vote, but still, of course, supported Trump for his foolishness, for his foolish comments on slavery, Tubman, and George Floyd. The disappointment that any black person still supports him. It perplexes the mind. It definitely perplexes the mind for me. I had to go back and see that comment real quick. But
Yeah.
nah, we got Killer Mike. Who else?
Ice Cube. Now Ice Cube, I don't got a lot of smoke for it. I think with Ice Cube, what happened is he, again, surface level, not understanding, but like approach to a lot of this. Kind of, I guess the Trump, the Trump administration was willing to talk to him about his like policy, about his plans. And people just kind of ate him up about that. Like it was just like,
I mean, but also we found out that he lied about that shit, and that the Biden administration and Kamala Harris tried to meet with him and do some shit. And I guess the terms and conditions of it was something that he wanted, or he wanted to. No, I think they wanted to put him on a call with multiple people who had some similar concerns about the agenda for Black people and Black.
And he was
America.
trying to talk to Biden. Like he wasn't trying to talk to.
Yeah.
So
and I guess in some ways Trump probably felt his ego more and made him feel like he was more valid and valuable to what he's gonna hear. But Trump talked 3 ways out of his mouth. Man, that man didn't care about nothing you said.
Yeah, and so I think
he went for the
I think it's just like rich people give other rich people the benefit of the doubt. And so Cube was in a position where he was like, well, anybody I could talk to about the economy and the economic circumstances of Black people is cool. I do think he got too much smoke. You know what I mean? Like, it's just because it's still like that partisan shit. It's like, oh my God, you supported you talked to Donald Trump? Like, you hurt the Black community. It's like, it's misguided, but like the amount that people flip out about it is crazy. We talked about Charlamagne. We talked a lot about Charlamagne, but of course he's on the list. But the last two that we're gonna discuss here. Let me see if I can pull it up. There we go. Is because Steve Harvey, like whatever Steve Harvey did, nobody cared. Like that, he met with Trump, but it's like, so what? Like niggas got so much smoke for Steve Harvey.
Yeah, I remember that. It was weird, but yeah, I remember.
Yeah, because like I said, niggas got so much smoke for Steve Harvey that it's like that's the last. The last thing we worried about is you and Donald Trump, nigga. We got more beef with the fact that you got 3 wives, and both the other 2 wives started out as mistresses, and you telling women think like a man. So you telling them to cheat on their nigga, and they end up marrying their other nigga. Like, what kind of advice is that? So he ain't even got past that. He ain't even got past that. But LeBron was another hardcore Hillary supporter. You feel me? And I think like with people like LeBron and Jay-Z and them, that they got so disappointed because like their candidate lost, that they was like, you know what? Maybe we should step back. Because you've literally heard nothing from LeBron. He literally just shut up and dribbled. Like after Hillary lost, LeBron shut up and dribbled. And what annoys me about that is with all the hoopla, like, oh my God, why would she say that to him? He did it anyway. LeBron shut up and dribbled on his own after Hillary Clinton lost. So even though that doesn't validate anything Laura Ingraham said when that shit popped off, it's still, as Black people, we should be like, bro, do you care about politics or not? Yeah. Do you care about who we vote for or not? Like, because we, like, nigga, you LeBron, you arguably the greatest basketball player ever. That means what you say influences people. Unfortunately, like Malcolm said, but it does. So what are you gonna do? And Malcolm's criticism was that we even making the fact that we even making these demands to these celebrities and athletes and everything else is extremely problematic in the first place. But nigga, if you're gonna do it, you know what I mean? Do it with some substance.
Yeah.
The last one we're gonna talk about before we get up out of here.
Oh, LeBron supported the idea?
I just read that too. Like, no. His PR team must have showed up in force like, nigga, shut it down. Delete
immediately. Was this recent?
Because I did not know that. With all the news that I watch and as much as I pay attention to sports, that I didn't see that come across the desk. So for y'all who don't know what we talking about, KJ in the chat said that LeBron supported the IDF. That's the Israel Defense Force. And that's currently the people who's committing genocide against the Palestinians. So for LeBron to support that, extremely problematic. I'm gonna have to look into that, KJ. Definitely have to look into that. And then lastly,
Did you?
what?
I just thought about something.
No, 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 no. What you was about to say? What you was about to say?
Krav Maga.
Who?
Didn't you take some Krav Maga classes or something like that? Some type of self-defense classes? Was that you?
Oh, I did. Yo, I did Krav Maga. I did.
Yeah.
I was big on Krav for a little bit. I was big on Krav, but that was intent. Like that was before I found out that was like the official martial art of the
Fighting
Israeli.
style.
but it makes sense because Krav is the reason why I want to learn it is because it's no nonsense. You know what I'm saying? Like you go after the eyes, you go after the balls, you know what I'm saying? Like you go after the weak spot, neck, the ears. Like it was you know what I'm saying?
Well,
so
yeah,
I had to leave it alone. I had to like once I found like the history of Krav, I had to leave it alone. But right. I did fuck with it. So you love calling a nigga out. You love calling a nigga out.
My brain, man. It's my brain.
I forgot about that shit. I hurt my Achilles, so I had to stop. And then I found out about it. So, but yeah, man, we got LeBron bugging if this is true. He said Draymond too. So if LeBron and Draymond supporting Israel, they gonna have some major issues. Lastly though, before we get up out of here, the last one we want to point out, which really annoyed the shit out of me, I'm not gonna lie, is Cardi B. Cardi B was buddy with the Biden administration, all for whatever. The only reason, and I'm gonna be honest, the only reason like Charlamagne and Cardi B turning on Biden is popular culture. It's popular to tear down Biden these days, especially when he the incumbent. That's the easiest thing to do. Now, mind you, there are valid reasons to tear down Joe Biden, specifically as it relates to what's happening in Israel and Palestine. Specifically. Those are valid, legitimate reasons. But when has Cardi B expressed any type of care for Israel? Ever. Like, what statements has she made in support of either Israel or Palestine? Because if we asking ourselves why Joe Biden wasn't that popular going into it, and Brother Rob said black folks' apathy towards politics is a huge problem. And we see that with, what's his name? LeBron James, Beyonce and Jay-Z. You feel me? But they probably, I give Jay moved behind the scenes. I don't know, like I have a very weird.
I don't know. I feel like we also have to call into question like this behind the scenes movement because it means a lot.
What are you doing behind the scenes?
What are you doing behind the scenes? And that's cool, but some of what is necessary in order to recalibrate and to shift and to move particular kind of social and political needs, particularly for Black people forward. We need front people, right? We need front persons. We need people like in the mix being like, hey, y'all, this is how we moving, this is what we're doing. This kind of what disappointed me about Cardi B is that she went and got too overly politically affiliated with candidates when at first her shtick was not, here, look at me, vote, I'm lined up with this candidate. It was really like, let me just say some real shit about what's going on. I want to speak to you from right upstairs above the bodega about
conversation, like me as Cardi B, not code switching, none of that. Me as Cardi B, I'm talking to Joe Biden. I'm talking to Kamala.
I loved it. I ate it up because I thought she was just really invested in making sure, kind of like on some Chop Up Show shit. Like we about to take these very highfalutin, very disconnected, disengaging, uninteresting conversations and making sure we putting the cookies where the kids can reach them. You know what I'm saying? We want to make sure that you're not letting this shit get past you, that you're not forgotten, getting caught up in the fancy language, none of the weird shit. And I just want to be candid about something real quick. This is bullshit and I'm gonna call it that. So many different conversations she was having that made her so accessible, so real, so knowledgeable. And it showed, like, never confused what she's doing on stage. She'd be listening, she'd be watching, and she'd be reading. And then all of a sudden, all of it was connected to the candidate or connected to
yeah, and that's what I'm saying. It's because, like, and even when Brother Rob talking about the apathy, I think the only thing that moves them out of the apathy is it popular to have the conversations? Is tearing down Joe Biden blowing up on social media? I'm joining. Because I think for somebody like Cardi B and for somebody like Charlamagne, it's more difficult to defend their position, even when it's unpopular to defend. Like me, I don't give a damn. I'm telling niggas, yeah, Biden is not perfect. Donald Trump is a terror. So if you're voting, vote Joe Biden. No, Damo, you tripping. Damo, you've heard all the smoke I've been getting. You've been giving me a lot of that smoke. You feel me? And that's what's frustrating about when celebrities do it, because they do it to their convenience. But when it really matters, when it's really significant, they leave. They dip. Because it's like Cardi B. Your relationship with Joe Biden shouldn't dictate the way that you engage in politics. We appreciated what you did. You represented the every person. You did you like you wasn't like I'm Cardi B, this the celebrity here. Let's talk about, you know what I mean? We need to put on airs. Nah, Cardi B said y'all been Miss Ma'am. oh yeah, shout out to Miss Ma'am. Miss Ma'am just joined us. Hey y'all, go back and watch it. We need the views. Go back and watch it. But it's like but to lose out on the potential of somebody, because somebody that like come from similar backgrounds as us, like the hood, let's be honest, and able to get in a position where she could develop her own political voice, that's only going to evolve. You feel me? Like we started with very, like, even our political opinions from our 20s to our 30s have evolved heavily. All of us that started out as non-voters. All of us started. I used to make a debate argument.
Aggressive non-voter.
Aggressive. I used to make a debate argument that said, "Fuck the government," and they was like, "Well, what are we supposed to do?" I'd be like, "Let me show you." And I'll go up, because these debates will happen in classrooms. I will go up to the board and just said F-U-C-K, the government. Simple. That's our stance. That's what we standing on. You know what I'm saying? That's why when niggas is coming at me now, like, Damo, you just along for the ride. Like, my nigga, trust me. I can explain your position better than you can. Please. You feel me? But now with you, it's a little bit more difficult, because you and I have, like, we exist within the same epistemic bubble, but we have these differences. But the evolution that can happen with somebody like a Cardi B, or even somebody like Charlamagne, if what we cared about was the policy and the impact, not the popularity. Not the popularity. Now, KJ said, I got to co-sign Malcolm again. We can't expect entertainers, especially those with no political bone in their content, to guide us politically. I get that. But I think similarly with, like, not voting for Biden, like wanting better candidates, asking for better candidates when right now we only got 2. You know what I'm saying? Like, I think we are in a position where these types of, like, politicians are the ones who can elevate these other people. These celebrities could elevate a Michael Eric Dyson, can elevate who are already up there. Let me not say elevate, like Michael Eric Dyson and Mark Lamont Hill. They're no slouches. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. But it's like those celebrities have an opportunity to give those people more platforms. You know what I mean? If celebrities treated like black political intellectuals the way that, like, rappers treat their best friends when they buy them Benzes and, you know what I'm saying, be buying them new chains and all that. Like, if these people was going out and they speaking politics, like if Cardi B going out speaking politics and she got Michael Eric Dyson with her, you know what I'm saying? Like, that elevate him. That elevate his opportunity to reach people who've never even heard of who he is. You feel me? So it's like, we don't need the celebrities to be the mouthpieces. We need them to be a resource for the mouthpieces, because the mouthpieces don't what they need.
It need to be the ones who aren't already de facto conscious, right? Because you already kind of occupy that lane and or a portal for some people who are gonna find that, but it really does need to be the Cardi B's, the Aubrey's, the damn J's, the Coles. I mean, pick a person, but somebody who really is up there. It's just like, appreciate y'all coming, thank y'all so much, and that. And then I'm gonna slide to the
rest. You just open it. That's all.
You know what I'm saying? And then come down and pop that open. Let that breathe. Shake the ass for me. Shake that ass. Like, I don't know.
No.
I don't know. It's not my lane, but I'm not so respectable that I don't understand that she has a connection and a gateway and a telos to people whom I never meet, but still need to receive the word, as the Christian folk will say, still need to be evangelized to every corner, right? If you really want to get you might have to jump in a Sexy Red concert. Get at what is that? I'm down with the mood. You back from my mood? What's the Ice Spice? She was here 1 second and has kind of gotten quiet here lately. Get her. I love her.
Nah, she got a Super Bowl commercial.
I'm in my mood. I'm in some. I don't forget. I forgot. Not for me.
I was about to say, you been jamming that Ice Spice too?
Who's a liar? Who's a liar? All that shit. My foot is due. So I don't get to go nowhere, airports, long drives. I'm listening to all the shit. Go get them and latch them on to somebody who has a meaningful inroads to a way to get people to do things that matter. I think that's the ultimate thing. I mean we done really explored a whole lot of it. Final thoughts before we put a top on this thing?
Yeah, let's do it. Um, I'll go first, and then I'll let you close it out.
You can close it all the way out. I think I'm smooth. Generally, I see
Oh
y'all
yeah, that was
next
your
Thursday. Hopefully,
okay. Okay, well
yeah.
yeah. Well,
Hopefully,
the last thing
I
I
will be
say on
back.
it is, um, I I always appreciate when people attempt to get into these circles and get these conversations. I want more of these conversations happening because I'm not interested enough to talk about anything else. Like this is I live, sleep, breathe this, and it hurts to see people get engaged only when it's popular because it's like you have so much more to add. Like not even just celebrities, but just like black people in general, you have so much more to add, even in the things that's not trending, even when it's not a presidential election, even when it's not people talking about it. And so we lose out on the opportunity to grow like the black political thought when it only matters when it's popular. And the reason why we
Mm-hmm.
get involved when it's popular is because our favorite celebrity gets involved when it's popular. Now, trying to change celebrity culture is that's a never ending battle, right? We live in a popular culture, entertainment dictated society. So they're like entertainers, celebrities, athletes. They always gonna have a voice, right? They're always gonna have a platform just because we have how much we adore entertainers. And so, as much as we want to say they shouldn't, we shouldn't put it on them to be involved because they can get involved and they show that they can get involved. We should hold them more accountable. I mean, now I know that the only thing that really holds them accountable is consumers buying tickets, buying movies, buying streams, all of that. But the making that demand is effective. And so if these people are going to be talking, they Charlamagne shouldn't be the mouthpiece. Charlamagne saying something should not dominate real political headlines because again it undermines the legitimacy of the media because niggas is not ain't nobody sitting around thinking, well, how does Charlamagne feel? If anything, they
Yeah,
like,
NPR,
Charlamagne, you should have endorsed him in the
mm-hmm.
first place. You feel me?
Politico,
Yeah,
Fox News,
right. NPR. Shit. So,
Wicked.
um, yeah. So to close out, we just in one of them things to where it's like we have to make sure that we're not allowing what's popular culture, entertainment culture to dictate political conversations. Charlamagne is an example of that. We have to evolve and grow past that and still hold them niggas accountable. Um, with
Facts.
with that being said, we apologize for what happened last week. Our episode about purpose will be up soon. Now it's not like our typical conversations, but we're gonna have more conversations like that because it was deep, it was engaging, and you had an opportunity to learn about a lot about me and Toya. We will
Mm-hmm.
be back Thursday. Next Thursday. If something crazy pop up, shit, we may be back this week if time permits.
Never
Um,
know.
and we may go live at the AFC
You want to see
Championship party at Toya's spot.
absolutely
So
true.
y'all stay tuned and look out for that. But with that being said, man, we appreciate y'all being here. Everybody that commented, Brother Rob, Emmanuel, KJ, Miss Ma'am showed up late, but she's here. Everybody else, let me see. Let me not forget nobody. J Universe, Chris Harris. Hit my
We
line,
had a
Chris.
new
Shado,
Ananda, somebody
Hood
who
Therapy.
I never heard too much from. I think in the past, but it was great to hear from Ananda. Shout out to you as
Ananda,
well.
yep.
Hood
Shout
Therapy.
out to Ananda for sure.
Hood
Definitely
Therapy.
appreciate all the love, man. It's up when y'all engage, we grow. So thank
Hey,
y'all for being a part of the family.
one last thing. Um, Jared Goff is having his Cinderella season. Shout out to the Lions. Brock Purdy and them up in there. Debo is a little afflicted right now, but Christian McCaffrey, all those great folks up there in 49er land. Shout out to you, Lamar. We love you, brother. Want you to do well. Want you to thrive. Want you to
I would
succeed.
love
But
to see you in the Super Bowl, but
put
not
your
over
name
Patrick Mahomes, bro.
I can't help you, bro. I cannot help none of you niggas. So good luck to you and your fan bases. Everybody involved with that. If it's not the Chiefs, it don't really matter. Kingdom stand up. Sunday is about that time.
I ain't
I
got
ain't
my
got
hat
nothing.
on. I ain't got my hat on. It's all good.
You know what it is. We know what it is already, baby. Chiefs Kingdom. Y'all see the helmet right there in the corner, so y'all know what's going on.
Y'all know what
It's
it
not a good.
is, man. So, hey, we love y'all. Appreciate y'all engagement. We will see y'all next time. This the Chop Up. We out.
Yeah.